Good morning, everybody. It's 25 degrees here in Southwest Michigan, and it's a brisk 25 degrees, but I'm going to tell you right now, it feels good, feels right. I got Triggerman Fred on my right, and we're heading out to shoot a deer New Year's Day, last day of season. What do you guys think? You think we'll get it done, or you think we'll go home empty-handed? What's up, everybody? We just got to the spot and there was already 4 deer right on this trail. And they ran that way. 4 does. I would say 2 of them were fawns. Well, folks, talk about being bamboozled. You show up to your hunting spot, 10 feet from where you park, and right where you walk in at stands 4 deer. So Fred and I hurried up and got in, followed their tracks, seeing they go over to the neighbor's property. So we kept moving south and worked our way to the southwest corner of the property, back where we had all our buck sign at. And right away, we started noticing deer tracks, and looked like either the buck we're after or who knows, maybe a dandy of a doe. So by now, this is about Fred and I's 5th or 6th time hunting this particular piece of public, and we're starting to get a pretty good grasp on where the deer are bedding and kind of what their movement through the property is like. We were beyond happy with all the sign we come across. It seemed like we'd run into tracks everywhere, and you know, if you did kind of run into an area where you weren't seeing them, you go another 50 to 100 yards and boom, the sign picks back up and you know, you're back on tracks. We had a nice scrape, and that really got us excited for the morning's hunt. So guys, we're going in about a mile into this piece of property, and of course we're zigzagging through the different thickets and through different sign. So by the time it's all said and done, each round trip of walking on our hunts on this piece of property have been about 2.5 miles, and usually they're about 2.7, 2.8. So that means we're walking darn near 3 miles on each of these hunts, which, you know, isn't outrageous, but we're definitely putting in the effort. You know, I really got to credit Fred. It was a rough season, and the last few days we had followed suit. We weren't seeing much for deer. Conditions were miserable and pretty crunchy. But, you know, that's hunting, and it's not always about the kill. Some of the best memories made are during that chase, regardless of success. You know, it was a little bit of a rough gun season and late season deer hunting for Fred and I. These public pieces get pressured a ton, and a lot of times people will push the deer out of there, or if the deer are in there, they're coming off of the private during the evening onto the public, and you know, you really don't get much of a shot at them. This piece we're on here isn't the case. I think it's holding deer year round. I don't think you're going to completely bump them out of there. If you had several hunters hunting the area, you will. But there's just so much sign and so much bedding and safety for these deer. You know, it is the habitat you're looking for where deer can mature. And all the scouting, all the hunting, all the hiking Fred and I've done, I'm a firm believer it's all going to pay off next year. You know, we didn't put all this hard work in for nothing. Well, up until this point, Fred and I had focused most of our attention on the back southwest corner of the property. The southeast corner of the property ran next to the road, main road, and while it was thick, I wasn't sure what it would do to hold deer, but tons of tracks. It was the most beds I've seen, and you know, you've seen that dead deer, so a lot of times when a deer gets shot, it's going to go to the area it feels safest and most secure, and I kind of think that was the case. Well, folks, I figured I'd share a little bit of the success I had during bow season with you. After a bit of duck hunting and deer scouting, I decided to hunt this piece that was pretty close to a few private land spots I deer hunted, and I connected on my first public land buck. I was in the stand for probably 35 minutes, and it's worth noting I was about 40 minutes late in that morning. My buddy Andrew and his son come out to help me track it, and that was my longest ever drag out at 3/4 of a mile. And for the opening day weekend action of gun season, I went up north. Got my first ever up north public land gun buck. It was awesome. It's January 1st, last day of deer season. It's not ideal conditions. We got some rain, freezing rain, some sleet, but it's not stopping us. Fred and I are getting out in the deer woods, and we're gonna try and make it happen for you guys. We put in a lot of hard work, and hopefully it all comes together tonight. Stay tuned to find out. Happy New Year, folks. We're going hunting. Let's go hunting. You know, it's the last day, and you're not going to keep Fred and I out of the deer woods during deer season. It's just not going to happen. And even though we had some freezing rain, some slick roads, and little crunchy conditions, we got in there. We weren't giving up. We weren't beaten, and you know, if you're going to be successful, that's the kind of mentality you got to have. That Mamba mentality. You know, one of the most enjoying things of being in the deer woods year-round is you get to see the changes the woods make, and each season has their own beauty. So Fred and I ventured back into that southwest corner where we had seen a lot of our buck sign, and there's a lot of nice thicket for them to hide in. And looking back on it, maybe that was a mistake we made. Maybe we should have bounced around the property, or maybe just hunted it a couple times. But, you know, you live and you learn, and you won't ever find success without failing along the way. I really want to thank Fred for sticking with it and, you know, grinding away. And I got to thank the viewers at home for sticking with us and following along. Make sure to check back throughout the year. We'll have some content on the channel, some scouting, some tree stand setups, and some blind setups at least. Till next time, folks, Fred and Birch out.